Where were you at when you first heard of Dogman?
It might have been like one of my other buddies that told me about it, or I found it on like through like Reddit or something.
Through
you know what I
Reddit?
mean?
Yeah.
Something. It might have been like a on the internet type thing, or it could have been my one other friend, Keegan. He's like used to be really big on this stuff too, so
Right.
it could have been him that told me about it. But it was like forever ago.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you exactly who
Right.
told me about it, or if I just found it myself. I don't really know. But it was like, that was it. That's all I wanted to do after that. You know what I mean? Because it was the first time that I heard of like a Michigan cryptid. Like we had our own.
Right.
You know, and that was really cool. Because I always was like big into like Bigfoot and Mothman and all that stuff. You know, like or just like the paranormal in general. Like that's always really cool. But
Yeah.
then when I discovered Dogman, I was like, oh, perfect. You know. That's something that when it's like, it was like when I was in Kentucky, I heard about the Goatman. You ever heard about the Kentucky Goatman?
Yeah.
When I was in Kentucky, I wanted to do that. Like, because I was like, man, we got the Dogman, they got the Goatman. That's pretty cool. And like, but it was like the other side of the state where there was.
That's the one with Goatman's Bridge, right?
Yeah, I think so.
With the, yeah.
Yeah, it was. I remember I read the story when I was there. I like discovered that, and I was like,
Right.
oh, that's pretty cool. But I feel like the Dogman is like less frightening than the Goatman. For some
You
reason,
think so?
For some reason, I feel like the Goatman would be like way more terrifying to see, and I don't know why. Maybe just because it's like.
Well, he's supposed to have hooves, isn't he? Like goat feet.
I'm assuming so. I'm not really sure.
And they bend backwards, I think, like Dogman.
Yeah.
That would be kind of spooky. They call him like a pan, right? Like a pan.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Right?
Yeah, but it's like more like a beast. Like it's more of like a big
More-
Dogman type, cryptid. Like it's not just like a little dude running around like
playing a flute.
Yeah.
It's more like animal.
Yeah. It was cool though, because I mean there was a bunch of like fake pictures of it when I looked it up, and I was like, that's kind of cool. But Dogman, that's the other thing. Like pictures of Dogman, it's always so difficult to figure out if it's real or not. Like my buddy came up to me at work the other day and said, dude, check out this new photo of Dogman that like came up on the internet. And I was looking at it and I was like, wow, it's blurry, but you can make out detail. And he's like, yeah, but check this out. And he swiped it over to Skyrim. You know how you can be a werewolf or something in that?
Yeah.
It was literally a werewolf from that someone put like a blur over and sent it out to the world to see like a new Dogman photo.
See, stuff like that just like discredits anybody who's really truly trying to find some answers.
Yeah.
What was I was gonna say something else too.
What about you? Like when did you?
The first time I heard it, I think, if I remember right, it was from a podcast. But yeah, that was the first time like I really, heard of it. And then like, as time progresses, you just like you're curious if this stuff really exists or not. You know what I mean? Because there's just way too many stories that sound very similar from different parts of. I mean, we can just say the United States here,
Right.
and not even including like offshores. You know. But there's like it's. I don't think it's just a coincidence. We say Dogman, but like I think there's more than one. There's Dogmen, right?
Yeah. Well, there's too many sightings, and they all describe the same exact thing, down to like even the noises.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you've heard like the many times that people say like they stand up and they hear the bones.
Yeah.
And like how some people say like it sounds like leather stretching when they stand up, like because it's like
I've never heard
muscles.
that. That's wild.
Like like the stretch of leather.
Yeah.
They said it sounds like that. It's almost like their skin or muscles having to
Adjust.
Yeah, like readjust to like the new posture that it's taking or something like that.
That's terrifying.
And what I've heard is like the majority of the time they're on four. They're down on the ground on four legs, but when they're threatened, they can get up. And it's like, like every cliche like werewolf movie, like when they turn into a werewolf, they have to like their body reconstructs.
Yeah.
And it's like painful supposedly and everything.
That's wild.
And like that's like their hip bones there must be another socket for them. So when they stand up, it pops into that next socket, so then it can stand. But then once it's into that socket, it's good. It can run around.
I meant to tell you something, dude. I was with my grandfather once, and we were talking about like spooky stories or whatever, and he told me that he lived in Tennessee, and that when he was like 13 or 14 years old, he was walking to the barn, and he seen like a shadow, but he said it looked like a dog, and he was like standing though, and he had his hand against the shed or the barn, and I guess after that he turned around and got out of there. You know what I mean? But
I would have too.
to me, that sounds like a typical Dogman story.
Yeah.
Really, because it's leaning against something usually. You know, maybe at first or whatever.
Yeah, it's always like a shed, backyard shed, or like a tree in the backyard on the tree line or something like that. Like it's like the same concept of when they have to pop into new sockets. It's like maybe they need a minute afterwards. You know what I mean? They got to lean on something for a minute because it hurts.
Yeah.
It could be. I mean.
Yeah. Also, that's weird. Is there's that really famous ranch out west that has everything paranormal going on with it. Like there's supposedly been dogmen there, and then I guess there was like a giant wolf though too. And the guy
I remember that.
He shot it like 3 times with like I don't even know what kind of gun it was. It wouldn't put it down though.
Yeah, I saw that whole thing. They even said like there was like muscle splitting off of it and everything. Like he's like, I know I shot it because he saw chunks coming off of it, and it was just like didn't care. Like, man, that's crazy.
I know I've never had an experience.
No, yeah, I wish, man. Like it's mainly like my whole thing is like I don't even know what would happen if I did. How would I react if I had one? But I'm so like sucked into it now that it's like, if I had one, would I run, or would it be the fact of I'm too sucked into it now that I would have to like get closer? You know what I mean? Like, and that's like the scary part because I don't know. I don't know how they are.
We're on
I don't
two
know their
different pages
personalities. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if they're like. Because I've heard so many different stories of like that they're actually pretty cool.
Right.
They're not mean. They just are curious and stuff like that. But then I've heard other stories where they're like just trying to kill people. Right. So it's like, I don't know how to like.
There's so many questions. It's like in the wintertime, do you think they hibernate? You know what I mean? Do they migrate? I would imagine they probably migrate.
That's what a lot of people think is migration.
Yeah, you don't want us to be in one spot for too long. You know what I mean?
Especially like, that's like the whole thing about when we were going like to Meldrum Road.
Yeah.
And we were trying to, because there was that sighting on Meldrum, so me and Charles went. And then we discovered that road almost leads up to Elginak, the state park. And I'm like, well, it's only like maybe a 20-minute hike for like me and Charles to get from that road to the park. So I mean,
like on the very edge of it, or
like to get into the woods of the park. Yeah. So it's like, come on, don't tell me that thing was just living on a road. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's not gonna happen.
We'll show it on the map. We'll show it on the map where we're talking about.
Yeah, it's not coming. It was coming from or going to. You know what I mean? I don't know. They didn't really explain like what direction it was going in or anything. They just saw like some big dog creature walking around, and then it got up. But it didn't see them, or if it did, it didn't care about them. But it was just, they just saw something weird. Yeah. It was a dad and like his son, I think I read a while back.
Were they driving?
No, they were out walking around.
Really?
Yeah.
Because a lot of them are like when people are driving too.
Yeah.
Or going out into the woods hunting.
Quick shots. They just see it real quick as they're passing by or something like that. Like that one, Jimmy.
Yes,
Jimmy Welsh.
Jimmy Welsh. Wait, Jimmy Welsh?
Yeah, so it would be just like Jimmy Welsh, where he was driving and he saw it, and he, couldn't really do anything about it but stare out the window and yell. Yeah. How he described it, he didn't know what else to do but just start yelling about it.
Yeah, and it's like, what else is there to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you or I like went out, say we seen one, I guarantee you the last thing I'm going to be thinking about is filming it.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, like, I want to.
That's the hard part. That's like if you saw anything weird, you're busy looking at it with your eyes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like that owl that was here the other day. I wish I would have taken a picture of it, but I was busy looking at it. You know what I mean? I didn't think about pulling my phone out and taking a picture real quick.
Almost like just a personal experience.
Yeah, but that's that's why there's all these sightings, but no one has full evidence of it because no one's thinking about like filming out their window constantly. You know what I mean? That's why you see weird stuff with like cop cars. They're like dash cams and stuff, or people that just have dash cams on their cars at all times when they're driving around, they pick up weird stuff sometimes, and that's like the best idea. Like, we should do that.
Yeah.
I have a dash cam. We should just like hook one up.
Yeah.
And just like
let it run.
Just let it run forever.
Yeah.
And just see what happens. Like, because that's like when you're least expecting something is when you'll see it. So
yeah. Yeah, I really don't know what I would do.